Hey, I don't know about you, but everyone that I know who's ever come across the idea that you can change your life by changing what you put in your mind. Um, Anybody who really believes in the power of transformation through the subconscious mind has obviously had this question: how do I do it fast? How do I change or modify the thought patterns of my subconscious mind fast or even instantaneously? How do I do that? Right? Yet, of course, we've all seen this happen a lot of times, by the way. Your subconscious mind has changed in seconds, it has changed in minutes a lot of times and made big decisions. Take, for example, a young toddler who accidentally touches a hot plate, maybe even against his mom's instructions, that don't go there, and they get burned. And it takes exactly maybe less than 1 second, less than 2 seconds for them to change their entire wiring on if they should touch hot plates or not in the future. They might never repeat it. They don't need to go for some 21 minute or 21-day meditation on a daily basis to say, I stay away from hot objects, I stay away from hot plates. No, it's instantaneous. It's instantaneous. It delivered its message in a few seconds' time. Now, like I said, a lot of us, we always have questions. How do I change or modify my thought patterns or the thought patterns in my subconscious mind faster or quicker? Maybe by faster you don't mean in 3 seconds. Maybe you mean where it could have meant 3 months. Maybe what if you could do that in a week? But how do I do that? And why do we want that? Right? Because people like saving time. If there is anything that's valuable to human beings, it's time, because we're here for a limited time. Nobody lives forever, as in this physical plane, in this third dimension, before we start talking about spirituality. But I mean, in this physical plane, what we do know is that our time is limited, so we want to make the best use of it. That's why people value a service that gives faster delivery. So, and given the same efficiency, by the way, the same quality that it could have given. So, naturally, when the stove was made, right, people gravitated to the stove because it could do faster what would have needed you to chop firewood, arrange it, set the fire, keep it alight, and so forth, right? Now, with that being said, Sigmund Freud, is that the way that we say his name? Sigmund Freud, right? He opened us up to one of the fastest ways to change your subconscious thought patterns through something that he called the pleasure principle. Some people call it the pleasure pain principle, but simply put, it's the instinctive drive to seek pleasure and avoid pain, right? It's the instinctive drive to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Human beings want to avoid pain or discomfort. I like to use the word discomfort because sometimes it's not really pain, as in excruciating pain that we try to avoid. It might just be discomfort. It might be mental discomfort. It might be emotional discomfort, or it might be physical discomfort. And in the spectrum of discomfort, there is then what we call pain. Pain is when you can't take it anymore. Your neurons are tired. Discomfort is like, okay, it's in between, right? And then there is pleasure. So what I've realized is that discomfort is, in fact, one of the biggest ways to change behavior for an organism. It is possible that what drove you to, even if you can walk, right? If you are able to walk, what drove you to be motivated to learn how to walk and talk was the discomfort of not being able to communicate or go where you wanted to go. Because if you're a baby, if you start crying, I saw a meme the other day. It said, the hard part about being a baby is that if you start crying and your mother doesn't know what's wrong with you, she'll just give you milk. But perhaps you've got an itchy foot, and maybe that's your discomfort, but your mom thinks, oh, he's hungry, because she can't hear you. So over time, probably that discomfort is going to give you the motivation, like, okay, now I need to be able to talk like this people. At least I'll be able to say my consent. At least I'll be able to say why I'm crying so that they don't have to guess. Or at least I can go where I want to go, because sometimes when your mother picks you up, she thinks you want to go another way, but you want to be in another place. She's making assumptions on your behalf, which is discomforting. That's why I'm saying discomfort is not always physical pain, physical pressure. It can be emotional, it can be mental pressure, right? So human beings, right, are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And I know that Sigmund Freud, he's a big psychologist, and said you seek pleasure. Most people in their comfort zones are not necessarily seeking pleasure sometimes, but they'll definitely avoid pain. What I mean by this is to say, there's a lot of people that are not necessarily seeking pleasure. Like if somebody, let's say there's somebody who works a 9 to 5, a regular 9 to 5, and they're not getting that much pleasure per se, but they're comfortable because they can afford to pay their rent, they can afford to pay their bills, and but they don't have the things they want. They don't have the car they want. Maybe they're commuting. They don't yet own a house. They're paying rent to somebody. They would love that stuff. That would be pleasurable for them to get. There's a lot of things that they want to do, things they want to eat, but they're not really driven to chase that because they're comfortable. Because whilst they might not have the pleasures they want, they don't have discomfort. But you realize in many, even success stories of many people that have shared their success stories over the years that you can find on YouTube, in books, TikTok, whatever, testimonials that they've done. What you tend to find out is that some of the people that we see as successful, I'm not saying all of them, there was a moment that their comfort zone was shaken, so that they were not necessarily having pleasure, by the way. They were already maybe in a poor neighborhood, basic job, but they were cool with that. They were cool with dying like that. But something was shaken whereby it was a matter of life and death, and which opens up the instinctive, our instinctive nature of avoiding pain, of avoiding death, actually. Because the thing is, on a primordial level, you're here for survival, right? And survival includes reproduction. Reproduction, you have to reproduce because you're going to die. You're here for a limited time, so you have to create other human beings to live. It includes your need to eat, not to go hungry, because you can't reproduce hungry, can you? So you cannot do that when you're hungry, right? When you don't have the energy to do that. And you cannot do that if there is something threatening your life. So there are so many primordial things like that can motivate you to do something and get you out of your comfort zone, right? So one of the fastest ways to change your subconscious thought patterns is to expose yourself to the discomfort of what it means to not chase what you want and not avoid the topic. I know a lot of people who stay in a comfort zone, but they know where not to go if they don't want to be in a comfort zone. So they know that by going in certain places or reading certain things, or if they watch a certain video, that video is going to call them out on what they are not doing. And that's going to make them uncomfortable. So instead of that, they'd rather not watch that video. They'd rather watch things that make them comfortable. But I'm challenging people today to listen to people or watch content, material that makes them uncomfortable about, and I'm not talking about by uncomfortable, just to get this out of the way. I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm not saying that people should not be content with their lives, right? But I'm saying sometimes you need a little bit of pressure. Sometimes that's why they say the friends that you have, they can influence you to want to do more. If I'm around friends that are achieving, I have no excuses because they look like me. As long as I'm seeing success off a YouTube screen, it's Will Smith being successful, it's Eminem being successful, it's Elon Musk. Yeah, those are human beings, but I have excuses for them. I come from Africa, and I can give all the excuses why and why this person is this race, and they're from this country, and they're from where there's this opportunity. So they were gonna do that. Obviously, they are privileged. I can give that excuse. But if it's my friends, the people I grew up with, and if I identify the people from my own identity that have done the same things I want to do, and I'm talking about people who do things in a good way, in a legal way, or in a good fashion, and gotten success. If I'm around those people, I am challenged. There's a certain element of me. It's not jealousy. That thing that manifests as jealousy in some people is something that was supposed to manifest as motivation for you to say, wow, I came up with this guy and this guy did this, did that. That discomfort shouldn't be jealousy. It should just be a notification to say, okay, you need to do something as well. You need to do something with your life. So that's one. There are, of course, many other ways that you could put yourself in discomfort to get your goals. You could deprive yourself of something and say that until I achieve such and such a goal, every Wednesday, I'm going to fast until such and such a time. As long as this goal, a set goal, which is specific, I'm going to fast. I know some people in life that can buy something for themselves that they're not going to open. I know a guy who might buy certain bottles of certain beverages that he likes. Expensive ones. But he shelves them and he locks them up and he says, I cannot have this. Now that takes a lot of discipline, of course. I cannot have this until I achieve this. But he's going to put it somewhere where you can see it unconsciously every day, so that he's reminded why he doesn't have it. I know some leaders of companies, organizations, that can set a target for their employees so that their employees push the sales, their employees do more with customer service because they know that their outcomes rely on the customer service they give. Their outcomes rely on their salesmanship, and say, if you guys can exceed this amount of revenue per month, I can give you this bonus. But if you don't achieve that, even by $1, you are not getting the bonus. You can only get the bonus if you surpass this. That means that the attitude that those employees are going to go into the workplace with is entirely different. Can you imagine that? Because now every client matters, every customer matters, even if they're feeling lazy. Because it's discomforting to reach the end of the month. It's discomforting to reach the end of the month and know that you can't get the bonus. It's even more discomforting if you missed it by $5, meaning it might have been just one client. It might have been just one customer that you didn't treat right. Maybe you looked down upon them. Maybe you don't think that, but their $5 matters. Now you know that even the person who's buying the least, their dollar matters, their $5 matters. So you can hack your life. You can improve your process by creating such structures. I'm going to talk about this issue in a lot of videos. This is the first video I decided to introduce this. And I'm glad that you guys tapped in. And let's tap in next time as well, so that we start discussing different ideas on how to create this discomfort. Today, we just wanted to introduce that this is what discomfort can do for you. Discomfort can create the things that will give you comfort in the future or repeatedly. Thank you for listening in. Please, this is a new channel at the time of recording this. It's a new channel. I would appreciate if you can like, subscribe, share it with other people so that we grow. And as we grow, we are also motivated to keep pushing the content. Peace.